Hey everyone, Board Game Brody here with my channel Let's Table It, where we get these games to the table. I have a copy of World Wonders by Arcane Wonders. This is a tile placement city building game where you are forming a city in a way to place world wonders within that city to score points. The game comes with wooden sculptures of many different monuments that you can build while playing the game. Now, each player will have their own player board as well. There are two sides, one with a lake and the other with a river. Players will decide altogether which side they will all play on. Then each player has a resource board to keep track of the things when they, build specific tiles onto their map. The main board has all the available tiles placed out according to their sizes, and the top one is flipped over to show the current available tiles for that round. There are 10 rounds in the game, so 10 of each tile are placed out there as well. When the tiles run out, then the game is over. So what do you do in this game? Well, each player has 7 gold that they can spend to construct their city with tiles. Each player takes turns performing one action at a time, spending different amounts of gold for those actions. You will try to place tiles so that you can score points and be the player with the most points at the end of the game. You score points by building monuments. They each score at least 1 point. Some will score 2 points. Your population can score points as you move your marker up to reach those rings. This ring icon represents points in this game. Continuing on your board, you will earn points for your lowest value of the 3 resources: the food, the ceramics, and gears. The natural resources on your map will give you a point each if it's adjacent to at least one piece placed out on your map. You can cover these, but if you do, you won't score the points for them. Then for each building tile that is surrounded on all sides by any feature other than those green spaces out on the map, then it will score a point as well. You will add up all those points for all of those things, and if you took a loan and you did not pay it back, then you will lose 2 points for each loan that you do that with. And then the player with the most total points in that game will win the game. So what actions can you take, and how much gold do they use for each of those actions? Well, each building tile costs what is shown on the same size tile from what's on the main board. The small ones cost 2, then 3, then 4, with the largest costing 5 gold. There is one long road and a set of short roads available each round to purchase for 1 gold, and 1 tower is available each round as well for 2 gold. When placing these tiles, they need to be placed on unoccupied spaces out on the board. A road must always be adjacent to another road tile, and the sidewalk on the bottom of the map or the tower counts as well. If placed in the long road, it can be placed over water by flipping over to the bridge side, but both ends need to be on land spaces. When placing a tower, it needs to be adjacent to something that is already placed out on the map. A building tile must always be adjacent to a road tile or a building tile of the same type. Tiles can be rotated, but must be placed on top of a land space. After a tile is placed, you will look at the tile and it will show the amount of resources that you gain, and you will move up those on your tracks on your player board. Whenever you land or you pass on a population symbol, then the population tracker will move up as well. Remember, you're trying to get the population to the far right and gain those resources evenly throughout the game to get the most points. Now, besides the tiles, the roads, and the tower, you can pay 1 gold to be first player or second player for the next round. Lastly, you can use your action to build a monument. When building a monument, you use the remaining gold that you currently have. This could be as low as 1, but if you have more, then you'll spend all of it to do this. So monument building is usually done later in the round, although players may be racing to get a certain type of monument, so you might miss out if you hold out too long, so watch out for that. There are 3 available monument cards at a time. When one is taken to be built, a new card comes out immediately to fill in that gap. But when building a monument, you will need to fulfill the placement requirements listed on that card. It will show the type of buildings that that monument needs to touch, the adjacency requirements, what terrain type it can be placed on, as some of them can go on top of water, actually. Most of them need to also touch a road. The card will list these requirements and the amount of points that it will score for you building it, and possibly some resources or population as well. You can take a loan in this game. This is a free action, and this loan provides you with 2 extra gold that can be spent during that round to help you do what you might need to do. A loan can be repaid later at a cost of 3 gold. If a loan is not paid off by the end of the game, then that loan will cause that player to be penalized by 2 victory points. If you find yourself with some gold and unable to do an action worthwhile, then it might be worth picking up that loan to buy a tile that requires more gold, and you will be able to then use that other gold that would have, been wasted. So it's a sacrifice of having less gold for your next round, and if you decide to pay it off, which I think you should, then it might benefit you better that way. Now, after 10 rounds, the game ends and final scoring is performed. Players check their population track, and if they have moved onto those rings, they will score those points up to 3. The other resource tracks are then looked at, and the lowest marker of the 3 will score the shown number of points. Players earn 1 point for each ring shown on their monument cards, 1 victory point for each natural resource not covered up that has at least 1 piece from your map touching it, and players get 1 point for each building tile completely surrounded by other things. And then unpaid loans come to take -2 points away for each unpaid loan. The player then with the most points wins the game. For advanced play, you can then add public objective cards that give further goals to score additional points. In addition, you can play the game solo as well. Maybe I will do a video of me doing that sometime in the future because, well, this is a good game, and I probably should try it solo. And, well, that's World Wonders by Arcane Wonders. It's funny to think I just did my top 10 games of 2023, and if I had this game before I made that video, this game would make that list. So first thing that makes the game great to me is that all those wooden monuments, there's 21 of them, they're great. If those were just tiles like the other buildings, the game wouldn't feel focused so much on those monuments. I mean, everyone is looking at the requirements for those monuments and trying to set up their board to get them, before another player does. The focus in the game is those monuments, and rightfully so, with those granting you the points in the game. There isn't a ton of different ways to score points, so you need to score them where you can. The next focus is the city building and placing tiles so that you kind of leave room for the other stuff that you want to do. It's a game of a lot of planning. When I first watched, other content creators playing the game, the video was full of all the players not talking and trying to plan what they wanted to do. Lots of thinking and lots of planning. I mean, roads can become a huge obstacle as many of the tiles need to be placed by them. And you have some options at the beginning of each round buying those roads, but if players take those and you get stuck doing other stuff, then you might find yourself with no roads available, and you might need to do some other things with other tiles to get other buildings on there. You might get stuck yourself and put yourself in a little predicament, So plan, plan, plan. The other scoring is the resource tracks, and I do like how it forces you to get certain building tiles, and you almost need to, get the same amount of each to keep up on those tracks with the other resources. Slowly, things might look like you're focusing on a certain color tile for those resources, but then you can choose to build toward those other monuments that don't require more of that type of building. Then as you increase on those resource tracks, it will increase your population to hopefully, get some points for just adding tiles to your city. Going back to the roads again, since it's so important, the wooden towers can also become a hit as you can start building roads off of those when you want to start a road in a new area on your map. The last action I wanted to mention was becoming first and second player. Depending on the player count, this can be very important. You will move your marker on the turn track to keep track of this. And this will give you, a better opportunity to get those monuments that you really want. But the monument action isn't something you want to do at the beginning of your turn, as it will use all of your money when doing that. So you're trying to kind of be efficient and make sure you use your money where it needs to. And you want to build a monument when you have like 1 gold left, unless you see another player kind of eyeing that same one. Then you might decide to pay more for it. That's fine, but you can be strategic in building more expensive tiles first. Then if any roads available after that, do that action, and then you might be close to having 1 gold left anyways and take the monument you want. Other players might be playing differently. They might go after the small tiles, getting them to place on those spaces that they need something to completely surround their other tiles to gain those points, or taking a road before another player does. They might decide to wait and see what new monuments comes out after other players build the current ones, and then they can use their actions after the other players are done to build something without the added competition. All of this great stuff, and the game can be played under 1 hour. An hour and you have built your own city with great monuments. Some you might even call world wonders. You might look at the other players' boards and wonder if, aliens were controlling them, as random monuments are placed randomly throughout their city in the most weird places. Or maybe that's your own city as well. I don't know. But however you build your city, it looks great to look at afterwards at the end of the game, and you probably will feel like you need to at least take a picture of it. So again, World Wonders by Arcane Wonders, which should be on my top 10 games of 2023 list. The game is published by Arcane Wonders, again, who sent me this copy. And again, this is Brody with Let's Table It, where we get games like this one to the table. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We are new and working hard to bring to you videos like this one so that you know if these games are ones you want to get to your own table.